our guests. Welcome to our parents. Welcome to our staff. And especially welcome to our students. Welcome to our guest speakers, Mr. Joyner and Scott. I want to first thank Mr. Jones. He's our Director of Engagement and Partnership, who's done a fantastic job of putting this event together. We are very much focused on improving academic achievement, not only in our high school, but in all of our schools for all of our students. Today it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you someone who is extremely instrumental and focused on the advocacy of literacy and learning. Mr. Seth Joyner grew up in Spring Valley, New York, 20 minutes outside of Manhattan. He is the middle child, has an older brother and younger sister. He played youth football, baseball, and high school football, and basketball, a true athlete. While excelling in the sport of football, he is also an advocate of literacy and learning. Mr. Joyner attended the University of Texas at El Paso and became a starter midway through his freshman year. Drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, we're the Eagles fans. We do better than Philadelphia Eagles fans. He played 8 seasons with the Eagles from 1986 to 1993. During this time, he was selected to the Pro Bowl in 1992 and 1993. Mr. Joyner is a TV personality, a podcaster, and he is currently a football analyst on the Seth Joyner radio talk show. I have had the pleasure of listening to him this morning, speaking to our parents, our staff, and our students in the middle school. I really encourage you this morning, young people and parents and all those who are here, pay close attention to the message. It was great, and I'm expecting great things this morning. Please, with your hands together, give him a warm applause and welcome Mr. Joyner.
Good morning, and thank you, Dr. Martinez and Mr. Jones, for having me come out today and share this afternoon with you, this morning rather. First of all, I want to acknowledge the parents that are here today. It's my most important accomplishment in life being a parent. I've got 2 kids. I've got a 23-year-old son, a 36-year-old daughter, and my daughter just gave me my first grandchild. I got a grandson who's 4 months old. Thank you. So, I grew up in a household without a father. So that was for me, that was the example of what not to be as a father. Everything that he wasn't, I swore to be the opposite to my kids when I had kids. Just understanding and knowing how important it is to be a dad, and understanding what I missed by not having a dad present in my life. I didn't have a high school coach that was a father figure for me. And that was an awesome experience looking back now to understand what an integral role he played in my success in my life. So the fact that these parents are here on the morning where maybe they worked last night, maybe they took the day off to be here to support their kids, can't underscore how important that is for you kids to understand that. And for the kids that are here, your parents aren't here, I would implore you to just understand and believe that your parents wanted to be here, but either work or whatever the circumstances that prevented them from being here. The fact that they aren't here, don't hold that against them. I'm always excited to talk to young people because you guys remind me of my son and his high school days. It's so far for me to reach back and look at when I was in high school. It's almost unfathomable that at one point in time I was sitting exactly where you guys are sitting. but I can sympathize with it. I want you guys to think about what it means to be a parent, because I keep going back to this because it's important for you to understand that your parents are your greatest advocate. They're here because they want you to be successful. They want you to succeed. They want you to do better in your life than they did in their life. That's every parent's dream, by the way. So I want you guys to give the parents a round of applause. Secondly, I'm honored to be here and help launch the district's literacy awareness campaign. By a show of hands, the students, how many of you enjoy reading? See, Dr. Martinez, I see your challenge. I see your challenge. Much like you, I was the same way. I didn't like reading at all. I spent a lot of years, even through college, I didn't like to read. And I can remember my mom, she would come in and she would be like, turn that TV off, get a book, read. And the funny thing is, she never read. So we were kind of following suit. Most times parents, our kids do what they see us do, they don't do what we tell them to do. About reading, reading has really changed my life. And I tell you a story, some of you guys, some of the parents will remember the name of Clyde Simmons, who I played with in Philadelphia for 8 years and another 2 years in Arizona. My best friend. We were roommates for those whole 10 years when we traveled. And one day I noticed he always had his book in his hand. He was always reading. And my question to him was, man, what's up with that book? And he was like, I just enjoy reading. And I never noticed it before, but every time I looked up, he had another book. He was always reading. And it kind of inspired me to begin to read, like many years later. And what I realized is that there's so much information out there for us to learn, so much to know. And what reading inspired in me was writing. Like I'm always reading 2 or 3 books at a time, all the time. I'm always reading something to expand my way of thinking, to expand my mind, to expand the way that I see the world, and to truly see the world as it is. And it's not to like put down history or anything else, but there's so much more to history than sometimes what we're taught in the school system. If you really take the word history apart and you split it, it means his story. So somebody had to write it. Somebody experienced it. Sometimes it's not always as accurate as we think it is. So we're challenged with getting the knowledge. We're challenged with finding out the information. We're challenged with using our minds to think critically about the information that we read. It's the greatest power and most powerful tool that you have is your brain. Doc, give me the quote for your mantra for the year. The creativity quote. Okay, unleashing unlimited creativity. Okay. I can remember when my son was about this tall, and he had this vast imagination. I mean, he would just come up with stuff that just would make me shake my head. And he was very creative. And I used to tell him all the time, I said, no matter what happens in life, don't never let anybody take your creativity and your imagination. Because it's one of the most powerful tools that you will ever have. So, it's not only the creativity, but it's the thought, the thinking. We live in a world where social media directs us as to what's going on. It's trying to tell us what we should think and how we should act and how we should react. The news media propagandizes the information that they want us to believe and what we're supposed to think. It's almost like they believe that we don't have the ability, we don't have the capacity to think and reason for ourselves. That's why that creativity and the ability to think for yourself is so important, because you've got to make decisions. You've got to think about things. You've got to direct your life in the way that you want it to go. So what they're reading do for me, it expanded my knowledge, it expanded how I saw the world. And it also ignited in me the ability to write. And I don't know where it started or how it happened, but I was reading one day and something caught my attention. Something forced me to stop and to begin to contemplate what I had just read. And in that moment, I was like, I gotta write this down. And I sat down and I started writing. And I looked up, 3 hours had gone by. And I had like 5 or 6 pages of just information. It just flowed off of that one thought. Now that came because of reading. And now what I realized is that I had a skill, that I had a gift for not only reading and seeking knowledge, but I also had a gift for writing. Taking my thoughts and putting them down on a piece of paper or on a laptop, so that I could go back and reference that information at any point in time to help me through specific situations. Or just taking your thoughts. I'm sure some of you young people probably journal. Like, I wish I would have done that when I was in college. I wish I would have done that when I was in high school. To take the experiences in my life and write them down in a book, or write them down on a laptop, so I could go back and look at where I was to compare how far I've come. Okay? So I like when that young man, he just shook his head, yeah. Because I know sometimes, and I get it, you guys are at a critical age where you hear some things but it don't really make sense. You hear some things and you really don't care. My objective here today is to say something to you that moves you in some way, to begin to look at life in a different way. So when I get that reaction, that means a lot. Thank you. That means a lot. That means that I said something to him that resonates with him. I'm just excited about it, because listen, I've spoken in front of hundreds, in front of thousands. I've seen grown people stand with their arms crossed, like, why am I listening to this ex-football player? What does he know? By the time it's over, his hands are relaxed, he's leaning forward, and he's shaking his head. So now I know I've connected. That's what I'm trying to do, is connect with you guys and talk about, my life, where I've come from, what I've been through, because we all got similar experiences. I tell people all the time, don't look at the clothes, don't even look at the body and think that that's who I am. Because I know what it is to be poor. I know what it is to be hungry. I know what it is to do without. I live on both ends of the spectrum. I've always wanted to be a professional football player my entire life. When I was 12, I wrote an essay, and my mom had that essay until she passed in 2012. I said, when I grow up, I want to be a professional football player. I want to buy my mom a new house and a new car. What I didn't realize at the time is that I was writing a goal. And as the years went by, everything that I was doing is I was working towards that end. I was working towards that goal. I was working towards accomplishing that thing that I wanted to accomplish. Was it easy? No. Coming out of high school, I was 185 pounds. There wasn't a whole bunch of schools to recruit. There was a junior college coach that got the assistant head coaching job in El Paso, Texas. And he called me one day. He said, I took this job. I want you to come down. We don't have any scholarships. If you walk on, you're going to have a chance to compete. You're going to have a chance to play. You're going to have a chance to win, to potentially win games. We don't have any scholarships, but we're going to help you with financial aid and everything else to take care of the cost of you being in school. So I blindly got on the plane and went to El Paso, Texas, from New York. Where was I in for a rude awakening? As the plane is descending, I'm looking around, there's no greenery. Like I'm from upstate New York where there's trees and grass and evergreens in the wintertime, nothing but dirt and mountains. And I'm thinking to myself, what have I gotten myself into? It was the best decision that I could ever make. Because even though I had a few other options, I realized that sometimes life puts you where you need to be rather than where you want to be. Yeah, every high school football player wants to go D1. That was the best place for me to be because, first of all, there was no trouble for me to get into. So the focus was on school and the focus was on football. And to be honest with you, it was more on football than it necessarily was school. Because I don't know what some of you guys' grades are. Some of you, if there's athletes in here, when you come across something that excites you, something that moves you, you will apply yourself. And I was the same way. There were subjects that I loved and I applied myself. The ones that I didn't like, I just kind of squeaked by. Just kind of got by. And I can remember my offensive line coach in high school, he was my guidance counselor. And I can remember going into his office. We sat down and he opened up my folder, 3 years of high school. He said, well, you know, I don't think that you can handle the academics on the Division I level. And inside of me, I was pissed. I was really upset, and I think you can see it on my face. I started sweating. But you want to know what? Realistically, he was right in his assertion. You want to know why? Because I hadn't done anything over 3 years to prove that I can handle the academics on the Division I level. But what he didn't know is he didn't know what was in here. He didn't know how this operated. Because the only way that he knew me was on the football field and in the classroom. He had no idea what my motivation, what my drive was, where I was headed. So I got up, closed my stuff up, reached across, and I shook his hand, went about my business because I knew what my goal was and where I was going. So you're going to experience people like that who want to tell you what you can do and what you can't do, where you can go and where you can't go. Each and every one of you have a gift inside of you. Something that you've been given to fix the world, to share in the world, something that you're passionate about, something that you love, something that you will get up every single day to do, that you love to do, that you might not even get compensated. Now, I got compensated for playing football, but I love the game. I love the game. From its inception, I loved the game. And it wasn't always easy. To take you all the way back to, my PB days. What a lot of people don't know is my first 2 years of playing football as a youth, I quit. I was always a little bigger than kids my age, so they made me play up with the older kids, and they gave me the business every day, and I quit the first 2 years. Third year, when I asked my mom to sign me up, she was like, if I sign you up this year, you're going to finish the year, the entire year. It was a pivotal moment for me because it taught me how to be resilient, to deal and cope with the situation at hand in order for me to get to where I needed to go. The other thing was, like I said, having to walk on in college, where other kids were getting offers from D1 schools and things like that, my road was a little bit harder. It wasn't easy. I get to UTEP, walk on, freshman year, 195 pounds. I've been this tall ever since I was in the 9th grade. 195 pounds. I wound up starting 6 games my freshman year. By the time we got done with spring ball, I was on a full scholarship. The Eagles drafted me in the 8th round. I got released the first 2 games of my rookie season. So you want to talk about adversity, you want to talk about perseverance, and having to deal with some difficulties. I sat at home the first 2 games of my rookie season in 1986 and watched the guys that I had just spent 6 weeks with in training camp doing what I dreamed to do. So when I got called back, I had a completely different perspective. It was the best thing that could have ever happened. So when you think about it, you consider failure. Understand that failure is not failure. If you evaluate the situation and understand why you failed. There's a lot more to learn through failure than it is through success. So when I came back, I determined that I'm not leaving again. It won't be because of something that I did. If the politics get me, I can't control it. But what happens on the field, that will never be the reason why I leave. So my perspective was different. My approach was different. Everything was different. You know, when you're drafted in the first round, you're going to get 2 or 3 years to kind of screw it up before the team says, oh, he's not our guy. But I knew that I only had one opportunity. And what I did is I prepared along the way. So when I came back, I was primarily a special teams player. I played on all special teams. The only special team I wasn't on was field goal. But every night, what I would do is I would prepare defensively, like I was the starter, even though I wasn't the starter. I was third team. I was the last guy on the totem pole. I was the last guy who was going to get a chance to play at my position, which was linebacker. But I prepared each and every day. So I walk in one afternoon. My linebacker coach says, hey, coach wants to see you over in his office. And I'm thinking, man, they about to cut me again. I'm just distraught walking over to his office. Right around is my head coach. So I walk in his office and he goes, learn your stuff this week because I'm starting. I'm not starting you because I want to. I'm starting you because I have to. All the other guys in front of me was injured. But I had been preparing for that opportunity. Because the thing I understand about opportunity, sometimes opportunity only presents itself one time. So I got a motto, be ready so you don't have to get ready. Be ready so you don't have to get ready. And I was ready. Played an awesome game. The other guys got healthy. I continued to start. The season was over. The head coach said, hey, it's your job to lose. You got your foot in the door, keep it on. The rest is history. The rest of my career, up until my last year, I was a starter. So sometimes, and I'm proud of that because, you know, as a first round draft pick, they didn't give me anything. Everything I got, I earned it. It took perseverance. It took resilience. It took discipline. I always get stuck on this discipline thing because I feel like a person who's undisciplined in one area of their life is probably the person who's disciplined in every area of their life. Okay? And that high school mentor that I had, he said discipline. He said the definition of discipline is doing what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, whether you feel like it or you want to do it or not. I'm going to say it again. Discipline is doing what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, whether you want to, feel like it or not. So when you come home and you got that homework to do, and you want to put it off, discipline doesn't tell you to put it off. Discipline tells you to get it done. Even though you don't feel like it, you know it's required, you're going to have to hand it in tomorrow. Do it. Plain and simple. Do it. Get it done. When you get up in the morning, leave your bed unmade. Discipline says, I'm going to make my bed. So when I go to bed at night, I got a made up bed. What's your routine during the day? Is it the same? Do you get up and make your bed, brush your teeth, wash your face? Do you have a routine about how you go about your business in your life every day? Because guess what? When you guys exit this place, you're going to need one. You're going to need one on a daily basis. How disciplined are you to stick to that routine each and every day? Gosh, there's just so much. So this venue, doctor, is a lot different than the venue I just left. See, because Because life is about to come at y'all a lot faster than it's going to come at them. When you guys are the sophomores and juniors, you still got a little bit of time. You guys are the seniors. When you get to June and you walk about this place, life really begins. And you got to begin to understand, think about what life is going to be like moving forward. Am I going to college? Am I going, and am I just going to get into the workforce? Am I going to take those gifts that I talked to you guys about earlier? Have I thought about those gifts? Have I thought about what I'm going to do with those gifts? They're in you. Your job now is to identify what those gifts are. And then try to understand what you're going to do with those gifts. Listen, the world is full of problems. Full of problems. Some of the most successful people in the world are problem solvers. Can you take your gift and solve a problem? Can you take your gift, nurture it, grow it, master it, and solve a world problem? Those are the people who are remembered. Those are the people who are successful. Success comes in a lot of different forms. It's not just money. It's not fame. It's not fortune. You get to determine what's success by identifying what your gift is and then being the best that you can be at it. All starts up here, the way you think. The way you think, the way you approach life. What do you want out of life? I open the floor up over at the middle school to questioning at the end, and I'll do it here as well. And one of the kids asked me, he said, if you weren't a football player, what would you have been? For me, there was no other option. Because I was at a speech one time similar to this. My mom was sitting in the first row. And I said, I didn't go to school for a degree. I went to school to be a professional football player. Because that was the next step. And I looked at my mom and was like, yeah, I'm sorry to inform you. That's why I went to college. Now, since then, a lot's changed. I accomplished that goal. But I went back to college, I got my degree, because I understand the necessity for knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. That's why I talk about reading books all the time. Doc asked me over there, what are the 2 books that you're reading right now? Because she said you're reading 2 or 3 books all the time. Tell our students about those 2 or 3 books. What's the name of those books? I'm always trying to gain more information, gain more knowledge, okay? Because there's this old saying, if you want to hide knowledge, you know where you put it? Put it in a book, because people don't read it. Everything that they want to do, everything that's happening in the world, guess what? It's in a book. It's been chronicled. It's been archived. And we walk around sometimes acting like we don't know what's going on. The information, they're telling you what they're doing. But they've hid it in a book because they know we won't read it. They know we won't seek the knowledge. They know that we won't enhance our brain in the way that we think, in the way that we see the world. I've been blessed to see it from a different perspective because I've been where you guys are. I've seen those hands that were raised when I asked who likes to read and who doesn't. And the majority of you guys didn't raise your hands. So that told me you don't like to read. Okay? Worlds of information. And I get it. We live in an information age. We can ask Siri, we can ask Google, anything that we want. So there's no reason in the world for me, if I ask you a question and you say you don't know, okay, that's fine. You can go find out. So there's no reason not to know what information is out there. But reading takes you to a whole different place. It enhances how you think. It kind of affects what you believe, how you see the world, and how you navigate the world. And more importantly, it determines in a lot of ways how you think. And how you think is big to me. Big to me. A negative mindset and negative thoughts never accomplish anything. I try to make sure that I monitor that in my life. For the people, the young people in my life, I talk to them about that all the time. Because if you know what, if you think you can't do something, if you think you can, chances are you won't. So consider this. Think about something that you accomplished, something positive in your life that you accomplished. And then think about what your mindset was while you accomplished it. Was there a doubt in your mind that you could do it? Was there a single doubt in your mind that you could accomplish, that you couldn't accomplish what you were endeavoring to do? Not a single thought. So you went 100 miles an hour at that thing until you got it done, right? Now, at the other end of the spectrum, think about the thing that you endeavored to do that you didn't accomplish. What was your mindset like? What was your thoughts like? I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. Then you got other people chirping in your ear that validates the fact that you can't do it. And what did you wind up doing? You wind up failing, right? Your parents are here today because you're important. They're a support for what it is that you want to do in life. And I know sometimes they look like the fun police. You want to go here, you want to go there, you want to do this, you want to do that. They're like, no, 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 no. Oh, they're the fun police, right? So you're smiling because your dad did to you. I get it. But what I want you to understand about your parents is these are your greatest advocates. I tell my son all the time, don't worry about my daughter because she got her stuff. My son's 23 years old, he's still trying to figure life out. And I tell him all the time, I'm like, listen, I got 37 years on you. I'm 60 years old, you're 23. I got 37 years on you. There's not a thing that you're going to think, a thing that you're going to contemplate, a place you're going to go, not a place your foot's going to touch that I haven't already experienced. So when I tell you something, I'm trying to keep you from making the dumb mistakes that I made when I was your age. I'm not trying to keep you from having fun. I'm not doing that. I want your life to be greater than mine. Your parents are here today because they want your life to be greater than theirs. They could be a whole lot of other places. Some worked last night, they could be sleeping. Some may have taken the day off from work, but where are they at? They're here. And they're playing an important role in your life because that's their responsibility. I talked about being a parent being my greatest accomplishment, my greatest responsibility. It 100% is. Because I was present in my kid's life, because I knew what it was like not to have a father figure present. So when your parents tell you, don't do this, don't do that, or you can't do that, understand they're doing it for your benefit. You can't see it now, but in the future you will. You'll understand exactly why they did what they did, why they said what they said. Because you know something? When I was 26 years old, I picked up the phone one day, I said, Mom, thank you. She's like, boy, thank you for what? I said, thank you for giving me a curfew that I had to be in at a certain time. Thank you for not letting me hang out at Charlie's house, because you knew that Charlie's parents was never home and Charlie smoked weed. Thank you for having your thumb on every aspect of my life when I was in your house. Because if you hadn't done it, guess what? I'd never accomplished the thing that I've accomplished. I've never gone to the places that I've gone to. Because you cared about me when I couldn't even see that you cared about me. And you wanted the best for me at all times. That's these parents that are sitting here today, that's here to support you guys. All right? All right, y'all. I don't preach that enough.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm going to